Okay, it says the United States has an approximate population of 3 times 10 to the 8th people. Each person in the United States consumes an average of about 14,000 grams of rice per year. Part A asked, about how much rice does the United States consume each year? So they're saying that 14,000 grams of rice are consumed per person. So you would have to multiply these two numbers together. You have 3 times 10 to the 8th number of people who consume 14,000 grams of rice per year. In order to multiply these two numbers together, they both have to be in the same form. Right now, the first number is written in scientific notation, and the second number is written in standard form. So we want to put both of these into scientific notation. To do that, we have to move the decimal place 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces and write 1.4 times 10 to the 4th power. And now we can multiply these two numbers together. When you multiply numbers in scientific notation, you are going to multiply the coefficient 3 times 1.4 and then add the exponents. So the answer is 4.2 times 10, and then with the exponents we're going to add those 10 to the 12th power. And this is our answer for part A. Okay, for part B, it says Brazil has an approximate population of 2 times 10 to the 8th people. Each person in Brazil consumes an average of about 5 times 10 to the 4th grams of rice per year. So this says per person. So this means that we're going to multiply these two numbers again, because it wants to know how much rice does Brazil consume each year. So we would take the numbers 2 times 10 to the 8th and 5 times 10 to the 4th, and we would multiply those two numbers together. They're both in scientific notation, so we can just go ahead and multiply. So 2 times 5 is 10. And then we keep times 10 to the, and then we add the 8 plus 4, because we have to add the exponents. This is going to give us 12. This is not going to be our answer in scientific notation. This number, this coefficient, has to be between 1 and 9.9999. So you have to take the decimal place and move it from 10, and you have to move it one place to the left. So I made the decimal between 1 and between 0, so it's now, it went from being 10 and now it's 1. That made my number less, so I need to increase my exponent and make it more. So this would be my answer because it's written in scientific notation. Okay, for part C, it says which country consumes more rice each year, and how many times more rice does it consume than the other country? Show your work and write your answer on the line. When it's asking you how many times more, that means that you are going to divide. So we're going to take these two numbers and divide them. So when we're comparing, we're always going to take the bigger number. And we know that 1.0 times 10 to the 13th is the bigger number because of the exponent. And then we divide it by 4.2 times 10 to the 12th power. We're going to divide the numbers and subtract the exponents. Okay, you should end up with 0.24 times 10, and you subtract, and you'd get an exponent of 1. Since your coefficient says 0.24, you have to move the decimal place one space over to make the number bigger. Because it's 0.24, it has to be a number between 1 and 9.9, so we're moving it one space over to make it bigger, so we have to make our exponent smaller. When we subtract 1 from 1, we get 0, so our exponent is 0. If you have an exponent of 0, this makes 1. So your answer is 2.4 times 1, which just equals 2.4. So it's 2.4 times greater. In rice consumption.